Welcome, everyone. Ready for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at something pretty cool, something you interact with every day, probably, even if you don't realize it.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things like once you start noticing it, you see it everywhere.
Exactly. And that is intelligent agents. Now, if you're thinking like secret agents in trench coats.
Right. 007.
Yeah, not quite. Though they are kind of secretive in a way because they work behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes of, well, everything.
Pretty much. We're talking about those pieces of software, those algorithms that are making decisions, taking actions, really making things happen in the AI world. Think of all those AI systems you use. Well, there's probably an intelligent agent pulling the strings somewhere.
Pulling the strings, or maybe more like directing the show,
Yeah,
like the brains of the operation.
I like that. And that's what we're going to dive into today. We got research papers, expert opinions, real-world examples, the whole shebang.
The whole shebang, yeah.
To really understand these things. So where do we even start, I guess? Like, what even is an intelligent agent? What makes it different from just a regular computer program?
Well, you hit the nail on the head there, right? It's the intelligence part. These agents, they're not just following a set of instructions. They can learn, they can adapt, they can even, in some cases, you could say, think for themselves.
Think for themselves. So like making decisions on their own.
Exactly. Based on the information they have, the goals they're trying to achieve. It's a whole different ball game from just input-output,
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to see the difference. So is that what sets them apart? Like autonomy?
Autonomy is definitely a big one, yeah. But there's more to it. It's not just about acting independently, it's about acting intelligently. And that involves being reactive to the environment, being proactive in pursuing goals, and even having some level of, social ability.
Social ability. Hold on. Are we talking about agents like chatting at the water cooler?
Not exactly. But it is about agents being able to interact with each other, share information, coordinate actions. Think about virtual assistants. You might have one controlling your smart home and another managing your calendar. For them to work effectively, they need to be able to communicate and cooperate in some way.
So it's like teamwork, but for AI.
Yeah, kind of. But it's important to remember that it's still all based on algorithms and programming. It's not like they're developing genuine friendships or anything. At least, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, noted. Well, speaking of different types of agents, I noticed our sources mention like reflex agents, goal-based agents, even something called utility functions. What's the deal with all that? Is there like a hierarchy of intelligence here?
You could think of it that way, yeah. It's like a spectrum from simple to complex. A reflex agent, that's the most basic kind, it just reacts directly to a stimulus. Like, think of those automatic doors that open when you walk up to them. That's a reflex agent in action.
Okay, so simple reactions.
Yeah.
Got it. What about those goal-based agents? How are they different?
Well, those are a step up on the intelligence ladder. They have a specific goal in mind, and they can plan and execute actions to achieve that goal. Like, imagine a GPS system trying to find the fastest route to your destination. That's a goal-based agent at work.
Right, I use GPS all the time.
Yeah.
But how does it even know what the best route is? I mean, there could be a bunch of ways to get somewhere.
That's where those utility functions come in. It's like a way for the agent to measure how good or bad different outcomes are. So in the case of your GPS, it's not just looking for any route. It's looking for the route that will get you there the fastest, or maybe the one that uses the least fuel, depending on your priorities.
So it's like it has its own set of preferences, and it's trying to make the best decision based on those preferences.
Exactly. And those preferences can get pretty complex, especially when you're talking about, say, self-driving cars or other agents that have to make decisions in really complicated situations.
That makes sense. It's like the smarter the agent, the more complex its decision-making process needs to be. But hold on, what about those learning agents I saw mentioned? That sounds even more advanced.
Oh, yeah. Learning agents are where things get really interesting. They're the ones that can actually learn from their experiences and improve their performance over time. It's like they're constantly gathering data, analyzing it, and then tweaking their behavior based on what they've learned.
So it's not just about following pre-programmed instructions anymore. They're actually like learning on the fly.
Exactly. They can adapt to new situations, handle unexpected problems, even come up with creative solutions that their programmers never even thought of.
Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing. It seems like the possibilities are endless. So where are we seeing these intelligent agents being used in the real world? I mean, besides GPS and those automatic doors you mentioned.
Well, you probably interact with them every day without even realizing it. Think about those virtual assistants on your phone, or the personalized recommendations you get on streaming services or online shopping sites. Those are all powered by intelligent agents.
Right, those recommendations can be scarily accurate sometimes. But what about beyond those everyday examples? Where else are these agents making a big impact?
Oh, they're popping up everywhere. In healthcare, they're being used to diagnose diseases, analyze medical images, even personalize treatment plans. In finance, they're helping manage investments, detect fraud, and assess risk. And in transportation, well, we've already talked about self-driving cars, but there's a whole lot more going on there too.
Yeah, self-driving cars, that's the one everyone always talks about.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what's the real impact of these agents in transportation? Is it really just about, like, replacing the driver?
Oh, it's so much more than that. Intelligent agents can optimize traffic flow, reduce congestion, even make roads safer by anticipating and preventing accidents. Think of a city where all the traffic lights are coordinated by an intelligent system that's constantly adjusting to traffic patterns. That's the kind of thing that could revolutionize transportation.
That's a pretty incredible vision. But, like with any powerful technology, there must be some downsides, right? Ethical concerns, maybe?
Of course, as these agents become more sophisticated, we have to be careful about how they're developed and used. We need to make sure they're transparent, that we understand how they make decisions. We need to be able to hold them accountable, make sure they're aligned with our values and ethical principles.
Right, it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we use it. So I guess the big question is, how do we ensure that these intelligent agents are used for good?
Well, that's a question that's going to require a lot of thought and discussion from all of us. We need to be having conversations about the ethics of AI, about the impact it's going to have on society, about the kind of future we want to build with this technology.
So it's not just about the programmers and the engineers, it's about all of us taking responsibility, right?
Exactly. We all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
Well said. So we've covered a lot today, from what intelligent agents are to how they work, to the impact they're having on our world and the challenges we face in ensuring they're used responsibly. Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap things up?
Just this. Intelligent agents are already changing the world in profound ways. And as they become more sophisticated, that change is only going to accelerate. So stay informed, stay engaged, and keep asking those tough questions. The future of AI is in all of our hands.
That's a great point to end on. So, to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of intelligent agents. And as you go about your day, think about all the ways these invisible forces are shaping your life. And maybe, just maybe, start imagining the ways you might shape theirs in return.
Food for thought for sure.
Until next time.
See?